Bless up, bless down on Mastermind Statements. Today I'm going to talk to you about 9 signs that you're in a toxic situation. Let's go. All right, so I'm going to talk about this image that's behind me. This image is always in all of my videos. This image is very significant because I know personally the guy that painted it. He used to be a teacher. And so as a first year, second year, third year teacher, he started to find out that there's lots of politics involved. He found out that he wasn't able to actually do what he thought he was getting hired for. And so it became a toxic situation. And so I'm gonna give you guys 9 signs that you're in a toxic situation. But before I do that, I'm gonna talk about this image. So if you look at this image, this is an image of a teacher that is drowning. You can see that they tied his hands behind his back. You can see that they put weight around his ankles. He's sinking to the bottom of the ocean. You can see that the light is up top, but as you look at the painting further down, you can see that it starts to get darker. And as a professional, this may be you. You may be working somewhere. You know, you might be working at a corporate job. You might be working at a blue collar job. Wherever you're working at, you may feel like you're in a toxic situation, that your hands are tied behind your back and you feel like a slave every time that you arrive. Every time that you're showing up, you can feel your body, you can feel your DNA shifting in anxiety, fear, anger, hopelessness, despair. This is a toxic situation. And I'm gonna talk about 9 signs that you're in a toxic situation and what you can do about that. But that image is so significant. Take a look at that image again. It's a teacher, hands tied behind the back, ankles have weights on them, drowning, not what you signed up for. What situations are you in right now and it's not what you signed up for? Think about that. What situations are you in right now and it's not what you signed up for? Things changed. You thought it was one thing, something else happened. 9 signs. Physical fatigue. Tired all the time. Physically tired. Tired as you're going to wherever you're going to, the situation. Tired while you're there, physically. Tired afterwards. That's pure exhaustion. That's your body telling you that something is not right. You know that when you have 3 days off for a vacation, perhaps, and your body's back in equilibrium, but then you go back to that particular situation. It could be anything, any toxic situation. Your body is fatigued. Now you got mental fatigue. That's oftentimes where it starts off. Mental fatigue will lead to physical fatigue. You can't hardly remember things. You can't think straight. You're not performing the best that you know that you can. These are signs that you're in a toxic situation. Spiritual fatigue. You know, typically you're a person that's just, straightforward. You're happy, you're peaceful. But you can tell when there's some imbalance because of toxicity. Your spirit begins to feel it. Your spirit begins to warn you. And they all work in sync. The physical, the mental, the spiritual, all working in sync. If you're not yourself, that's another one. If you aren't who you should be and you're not yourself, this is a sign that you're in a toxic situation. You know who you are. Some of you people out there, you know who you are. Nobody can just come up to you and try to tell you otherwise. Your family can't tell you, your friends can't tell you, your boss can't tell you. But you're out of equilibrium and you feel like you're morphing into somebody else. This is a sign. Gotta listen to these signs. You're losing money in a toxic situation, losing money at a rapid rate. This is not good. Losing sleep. Again, spirit's off, physical's off, mental's off, losing sleep. If you're losing money, you're losing sleep. Now you're losing your mind. If you feel like you're losing your mind, this is another sign that you're in a toxic situation. When you feel like you're losing your mind, you start to feel paranoid. You start to feel anxious. Some people start crying. Some people get angry. They feel very delusional. They don't like to be around a lot of people at that time because they feel like People know what they're thinking inside. Losing your mind. It's one thing to lose your mind, especially if you're a younger person. When you lose your mind, it's something terrible. Something very terrible. Here's another key critical component that you're in a toxic situation. When you lose some of your good friends, I'm talking about the good ones. I'm not talking about where you have good friends and then things are toxic with them and they change up or they switch up. Sometimes your good friends, they'll hold out as long as they can, but when that toxic situation is starting to affect them, they may start to exit stage left too. And it's for the safety of their well-being and their mind too. You can't always fault people. Sometimes they hang out with you as much as they can, but then they gotta get on down the road too. That's how it works. So when you're facing physical fatigue, mental fatigue, spiritual fatigue, lack of ambition, that's another one, lack of ambition. You're a person that goes out here and you create. You're a person that has ideas, you make them happen. You travel a lot. You're out there working on your car, going to the beach, skydiving, doing all the great things that make you happy, playing your musical instrument, singing, drawing, doing business, whatever it is. But now you have lack of ambition. Something has creeped in and has made it a toxic situation to where you don't even want to do that thing that you have a passion for, that thing that you have a love for, that thing that is actually you. This is a terrible situation. And it's something that you got to think about. How can you get out of that situation? I'm gonna tell you one thing you can do. You're gonna have to raise your vibration, because when you're in a low vibrational toxic situation, it brings you down. As we just got through talking a lot, these things are bringing you down. You're losing something. When you lose, you're here, and then it goes here, you lost. We need to bring your vibration back up. You need to be getting something. You need to be gaining something. So with that, simple things, you've heard these before. These have been scientifically proven when it comes to the human physiology. Exercise. I know you heard that before. Some of you like to exercise, some of you don't like to exercise. If you don't like to exercise, what's the cost benefit? Are you gonna continue to suffer, or are you gonna exercise and get the benefits of that to help to raise your vibration? Exercise might just be walking, might be jogging, skateboarding, longboarding, getting on a bike, climbing a mountain. You gotta expand your mind. Exercise is not inside of a gym. Exercise is anything that's getting your body up to speed, a little resistance, getting your heart rate up. You gotta think about that. Watch out with the foods that you're eating too, because in order to get out of these toxic situations mentally, that's what we're talking about now, mentally, you've gotta shift some other things around so that's not so difficult to get out of it. You gotta have better food choices. Blueberries are good for the brain. You got rosemary leaves. Boil those up, make it into tea. Just the aroma of rosemary has been proven to improve people's memory. Gotta do your research. Get on the internet, do your research. Sometimes you may have to isolate yourself away from people. You gotta discern when it's time to isolate yourself versus being around good people. I know the internet always talks about isolating yourself, being a lone wolf. That is only under certain circumstances, and you really need to know yourself and know when that is appropriate to do and when it's not appropriate to do. So again, depending on your circumstance, depending on you, know when to isolate yourself and also when to get around good people to raise your vibration. Meditation. Meditating in quietness. You can be meditating out in nature, meditating if you live alone in your house, in your apartment, your studio apartment, wherever you live at, meditating. Just thinking in a mind of gratitude, being thankful. A lot of times people hear the word meditate, they're not sure what to do. I'm gonna tell you one thing. You can either just meditate and just block everything out, or meditate and just be thankful for the great things that you've already encountered in your life, for the great things that'll be happening in your life, the great things that are currently happening in your life. Because you're in a toxic situation doesn't mean that everything is negative in your life. You could journal, write down your thoughts, write down affirmations, write down what you're thankful for, pray. And when you pray, the key again, you're praying and you're believing that it's already done. You're not praying and begging God to make your vibration go even lower. When you start begging, your vibration goes down further. So never beg when you pray. Only be thankful. Being thankful raises the vibration. Begging's lack of faith. Saying thank you is faith. The vibration goes up. Get a plan of escape from the toxic situation. So important. So important. You got to get a plan of escape from the toxic situation. Got to plan this out. If you don't plan it out, then I'm going to tell you what I always tell people. You got to cut it off. 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 Whatever that toxic situation is, you got to cut it off. Just cut that off. Somebody bothering you, cut that off. Somebody stealing from you, cut that off. Somebody don't want to see you prosper, cut that off. Somebody hating on you, cut that off. Fly a kite, be free, and keep winning.